Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we're diving into a story that challenges everything we think we know about perfect moments, about love, and about the hidden battles people fight. It's a tale that begins with a dream wedding, the kind meticulously planned, steeped in joy, and filled with the promise of forever. Imagine the scene: a breathtaking outdoor venue, twinkling fairy lights casting a romantic glow, floral arrangements designed to perfection. 300 guests gathered to celebrate a love story they believed was picture perfect. The champagne flows, laughter fills the air, and a beautiful bride, Amara, in a gown she spent months choosing, beams beside her handsome groom, James. This is the culmination of years of dreaming, months of planning, and a deep 4-year relationship. It's meant to be the happiest day of their lives, a flawless beginning to their shared future. But then, in an instant, everything shatters. A single brutal sound cuts through the celebratory hum, the unmistakable, horrifying sound of skin striking skin. The echo reverberates through the elegant hall, silencing every guest, freezing every smile. Forks clatter on plates, glasses are suspended in midair, breath catches in throats. Time itself seems to seize up as Amara's head is violently snapped to the side by the force of James's open palm. Her pristine white veil, meant to symbolize purity and new beginnings, flutters with the impact, a heartbreaking visual testament to the violence. A single tear, a betrayal of her attempt at composure, escapes her eye before she can even register the sting, tracing a path down her cheek where the red mark of his hand already begins to bloom against her deep brown skin. The collective gasp is palpable, though no one dares to utter a sound. The beautiful venue, moments ago a haven of joy, now feels cold, hostile, imbued with an oppressive sense of shock and disbelief. Amara slowly turns her face back toward James, her husband of a mere 47 minutes. The dark eyes that for 4 years had been so warm, so full of life and love when they looked at him, have now turned to stone, mirroring the shattered porcelain of the moment. The physical pain is immediate and sharp, a stark contrast to the elegant setting. But the pain in her heart, the profound sense of betrayal, and the unraveling of her carefully constructed dream is 1,000 times worse than any physical sting. "What did you just do?" she whispers, a voice so soft, yet in the suffocating silence it carries to every corner of the hall, piercing the stunned consciousness of 300 witnesses. James stands frozen, his hand still suspended, as if it belongs to someone else, as if it betrayed him as much as it betrayed Amara. The horror of his action slowly dawns on his face, morphing his earlier joyous expression into one of stark, disbelieving regret. In that agonizing silence, the champagne glass still clutched in his other hand slips from his fingers. It shatters on the floor with a deafening crash, a symbolic sound that finally breaks the spell of silence and ushers in a cascade of reactions. Chairs scrape back. Amara's father, a formidable figure who radiates protectiveness, lunges forward, his face contorted with rage, only to be held back by her brothers, who share his fury but possess cooler heads. James's best man, his face a mask of confusion and disbelief, steps between the families, caught in an impossible situation. The wedding planner, whose meticulous work has just been desecrated, covers her mouth in shock, her perfectly orchestrated event collapsing around her. Amara's mother rushes to her side, her face a mixture of terror and compassion. But Amara, with a strength that belies the fragility of the moment, holds up her hand, stopping everyone. "Don't," she commands, her voice gaining unexpected power, though still laced with a profound sadness. "Nobody move." She stands tall in her white lace gown, a vision of shattered elegance, a testament to a dream violently interrupted. This was the dress she had spent months choosing, the day she had spent years imagining, all now reduced to ashes by a single, inexplicable moment of uncontrolled anger. James, his face twisted with regret, begins to reach for her, his movements hesitant, desperate. "Don't touch me," she says, her voice firm now, stepping back, putting a definitive, painful distance between them. Her mind races, a whirlwind of confusion and disbelief, trying to make sense of the incomprehensible. James had never hit her before, never even come close. 4 years they had been together, navigating the usual ups and downs of a relationship, the disagreements, the compromises, the quiet moments of shared joy. He had never shown this side of himself, never hinted at such a capacity for violence. The crowd watches in stunned silence, a Greek chorus to the destruction of what should have been a sacred union. With quiet dignity, Amara gathers the train of her shattered dress and begins to walk towards the exit. Her best friend Rose, quick to action, follows, but not before throwing a disgusted, venomous glare at James as she passes. "Wait!" James cries out, desperation raw in his voice, his perfect future slipping through his fingers. "Please, Amara, wait!" Amara pauses at the door, her back still to him, her shoulders squared, her posture straight. It's a powerful image of strength, even as her world crumbles around her, a visible declaration that she will not be utterly broken. "What could you possibly say right now?" she asks, her voice betraying the depth of her hurt, still unwilling to turn and face the source of her pain. The wedding guests, unwilling witnesses to this unimaginable drama, sit in uncomfortable silence. Some stare down at their plates, unable to watch the unfolding tragedy, while others, morbidly fascinated, cannot tear their eyes away. James takes a step toward her, then another, closing the agonizing distance between them. "I don't know what happened," he says, his voice breaking, cracking with a grief that is both selfish and genuine. "I've never done anything like that before. You know me, Amara. You know that's not who I am." She finally turns to face him, her expression a careful, unreadable mask. "Do I?" she counters, her voice laced with a profound cynicism. "Because the man I thought I knew would never hit me, especially not on our wedding day, especially not in front of everyone we love." And his own mother, a woman who likely always saw the best in her son, stands up from her table, her face ashen with shock and disappointment. "James Alexander Thompson," she enunciates, her voice a fragile whisper of condemnation. "What have you done?" The weight of her disappointment hangs heavy in the air, a burden almost as heavy as Amara's pain. James looks around the room, seeing only shock, judgment, and revulsion reflected in every face. His father, usually his rock, cannot meet his eyes. Amara's family, a tight-knit unit, looks ready to tear him limb from limb. Even his closest friends, the men who stood beside him just moments ago, stare at him like he's a stranger, an alien inhabitant in his own skin. "Please," he pleads, his gaze locking back onto Amara, clinging to her like a lifeline. "Just give me a chance to explain." As Rose, ever protective, snaps back, a fierce arm around Amara's shoulders. "Explain what? There's nothing to explain. We all saw what happened." But Amara, with a gesture both gentle and resolute, moves Rose's arm away. Despite everything, despite the public humiliation, the searing pain, the utter devastation, something makes her pause. This is where the story pivots from a simple narrative of betrayal to a complex exploration of human connection and the often unseen layers beneath the surface of our relationships. 4 years of love, of shared dreams, of built-up trust. Could all of that truly be erased in one terrible, inexplicable moment? The man standing before her, looking utterly broken and desperate, was the same man who had held her through her father's heart attack, a pillar of strength in her darkest hour. He was the man who had supported her financially and emotionally through graduate school, celebrating her triumphs and cushioning her falls. He was the man who had, until this moment, always treated her with unwavering love and respect. A profound internal battle rages within her. The rational part of her brain screams to walk away, to never look back, to protect herself from further pain. But her heart, the heart that had loved this man for 4 years, held an inexplicable thread of hope, an unwillingness to sever the connection just yet. "Until now," she states, her voice cold, but with a slight waver that hints at her internal struggle. "You have 1 minute, and it better be good." The tension in the room is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Amara's bridesmaids huddle together, whispering, their eyes darting between the couple. The catering staff, usually bustling, stand frozen by the kitchen doors, every person in the room waiting, holding their collective breath for what would happen next. James steps forward, his hands trembling visibly, a man on the precipice of losing everything. "I don't know what happened," he repeats, his voice a hoarse whisper. "There's no excuse, no explanation that could make this okay." He swallows hard, trying to force the words past the lump in his throat. "But something's wrong with me, Amara. The headaches I've been having. I felt this weird sensation right before it happened, like I wasn't in control of my body." Amara's stern expression falters ever so slightly. This is a critical moment. James isn't offering a flimsy excuse. He's hinting at a deeper, more unsettling truth. He had indeed been complaining about headaches for weeks, but both of them had dismissed it, attributing it to the intense stress of wedding planning, the long hours at work, the general chaos of life. It's a common human tendency, isn't it? We often rationalize subtle changes in ourselves or our loved ones, attributing them to stress, fatigue, or just a bad mood. We push aside the nagging feeling that something might be genuinely amiss, especially when life is already overwhelming. "That doesn't give you the right to hit me," she asserts, her voice regaining some of its earlier steel, though the sharpness has been tempered by a flicker of doubt, a tiny seed of concern that James's words have planted. "Nothing gives me that right," James agrees quickly, desperately, his voice cracking with renewed self-loathing. "Nothing. I would cut off my own hand before I would willingly hurt you. I need help, Amara. Something's not right with me. But I'm not asking you to stay. You deserve better than what just happened. All I'm asking is that you don't make your final decision about us right now, in this moment." Amara stands still, caught in a tempest of conflicting emotions. The rational, self-preservation part of her brain screams at her to turn, walk away, and never look back, to protect herself from a man who had just violently betrayed her. But her heart, the heart that had loved this man fiercely for 4 years, the heart that remembered countless acts of kindness, support, and unwavering affection, refused to let her leave just yet. It's a testament to the profound complexity of long-term relationships, where love isn't just an emotion, but a deep entanglement of shared history, vulnerability, and hope. "I need time," she finally says, her voice softer now, reflecting the depth of her internal turmoil. "And you need to figure out what's going on with you." With that, she turns and walks out of the reception hall, her white dress trailing behind her like a discarded dream. The door closes behind her with a soft click, a sound that, in its finality, somehow resonates like the end of everything. James stands utterly alone in the middle of the room, surrounded by shocked faces, by the debris of shattered champagne glasses, and by the broken dreams of a future that, moments ago, had seemed so certain. He wonders if he has just lost the love of his life forever. The days following the wedding blur into an indistinguishable haze for Amara. She retreats to her parents' house, finding solace in the familiar comfort of her childhood home, but even there, the atmosphere is heavy. Her family, while doing their best to comfort her, can barely contain their own simmering anger and disappointment towards James. Her phone buzzes incessantly with messages of concern, support, and undoubtedly judgment from friends and family, but she cannot bring herself to respond to any of them. She feels numb, disconnected, as if she is watching her own life unfold from a great distance, unable to influence its course. "You don't have to decide anything right now," her mother says gently, sitting beside her on the bed, offering the quiet wisdom only a mother can provide. "Take all the time you need." Amara nods, her gaze fixed on the familiar neighborhood outside her window, the very streets where she had grown up, where her dreams of a simple, happy life had taken root. "I keep replaying it in my mind," she whispers, her voice barely audible, desperate to make sense of the incomprehensible. "He never showed any signs, Mom, not in 4 years. Her mother sighs, taking Amara's hand in hers, offering a silent anchor in her storm. "Sometimes people hide who they really are," she begins, then hesitates, searching for the right words. "And sometimes good people do terrible things." Amara's voice is small, almost childlike in its vulnerability, as she asks the question that torments her. "Which one is James?" "I don't know, sweetheart," her mother replies, her voice thick with compassion, "but I do know that you don't have to figure that out today." The idea of dissolving her marriage, of erasing it as if it had never happened, brings fresh tears to Amara's eyes. Despite the pain, the humiliation, the absolute shock, she still cannot bring herself to hate James. Not yet, anyway. The tendrils of love, though bruised and battered, still hold her. Meanwhile, across town, James is embroiled in a very different kind of reality. He sits in a sterile examination room, the stark white walls and clinical air a jarring contrast to the warmth of the life he almost had. He waits, a knot of dread tightening in his stomach, for the doctor to return with his test results. The incident at the wedding had triggered an immediate, urgent medical investigation. First, a CT scan, then an MRI, then more tests, escalating quickly when something concerning was found. Dr. Parker returns holding a folder, his expression serious, a look that makes James's heart sink with an icy certainty. "We found the cause of your headaches and the episode at your wedding," the doctor says, sitting down across from James. "You have a small brain tumor pressing on an area that can affect impulse control and emotional regulation." The words hit James like a physical blow. He feels the blood drain from his face, leaving him pale and dizzy. "A tumor? Am I going to die?" The primal fear of mortality grips him. "It's benign," Dr. Parker assures him quickly, sensing his panic. "And its location makes it operable with a good chance of complete recovery. But left untreated, it could continue to cause these episodes of uncharacteristic behavior, headaches, and potentially other neurological symptoms." James slumps back in his chair, a profound mixture of relief and fear washing over him in equal measure. The relief is for the benign diagnosis. The fear is for the implications of what this means, both for his health and for his shattered life. "So what happened at my wedding? It wasn't really me?" he asks, seeking validation, seeking an explanation that could possibly redeem him in his own eyes, if not in Amara's. "Neurologically speaking," the doctor explains, choosing his words carefully, "sudden aggression can definitely be a symptom of a tumor in this location. It doesn't mean you're not responsible for your actions, but it does mean there's a medical explanation for behavior that's out of character for you." James nods slowly, trying to process this monumental revelation. It doesn't excuse, but it explains. It doesn't absolve, but it contextualizes. This is a profound insight that many people, including those who've experienced such events firsthand, often overlook. Consider how often we attribute sudden personality shifts or uncharacteristic behavior in others to intentional malice, stress, or a simple lapse in judgment. We rarely jump to the conclusion that a complex neurological issue might be at play. I've heard of countless cases where a change in personality, irritability, or impulsivity was initially dismissed as just aging, stress from work, or a difficult phase, only for a later diagnosis to reveal a significant underlying medical condition, a thyroid imbalance, a vitamin deficiency, or even, in more severe cases, a silent stroke or an undiagnosed tumor. These stories highlight a critical lesson: that our bodies and brains are intricately linked, and physical ailments can profoundly impact our emotional and behavioral landscapes. It's a humbling reminder of the hidden battles people may be fighting, battles invisible to the naked eye. "How soon can we do the surgery?" James asks, a desperate urgency in his voice. He wants this foreign intruder, this thief of his personality, gone. "We can schedule it for next week," Dr. Parker replies. "In the meantime, I'm prescribing medication that should help control the symptoms, but you shouldn't be alone right now, just in case there are more episodes." "I don't think that's going to be a problem," James says bitterly, a wry, self-deprecating humor coloring his tone. "My parents have barely let me out of their sight since the wedding." After leaving the doctor's office, James sits in his car for a long time, staring at his phone, his mind a whirlwind. He needs to tell Amara, but the fear is crippling. Would she even believe him? Would she think he was making up an elaborate, desperate excuse? He couldn't blame her if she did. Finally, with a deep breath, he types out a text message, his fingers trembling. "I need to talk to you. The doctor found something. Please, Amara." Across town, Amara's phone buzzes, a jarring intrusion into her quiet grief. Rose, who has barely left her friend's side, ever the loyal protector, peeks over her shoulder. "Are you going to answer him?" she asks, her voice laced with skepticism. Amara bites her lip, the decision weighing heavily. "I don't know." "You don't owe him anything," Rose reminds her firmly. "Not a conversation, not a chance to explain, nothing." "I know," Amara says quietly, her voice barely a whisper. "But I need answers for myself." After a long, agonizing moment, she finally replies, "Tomorrow, 2 p.m., the coffee shop on Main." She chooses a public place deliberately, a subtle but significant act of self-preservation. Though she can't imagine James hurting her again, she's not taking any chances. Trust, once broken, cannot be instantly repaired. The next day, Amara arrives at the coffee shop early. She carefully selects a table near the door, an easy escape route if needed. A small act of self-defense in a situation fraught with emotional danger. She wears jeans and a simple blouse, her hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, her attire reflecting a desire for normalcy, for a return to a life unmarred by wedding day trauma. No makeup covers the dark circles under her eyes, stark evidence of many sleepless nights, many hours spent replaying that horrifying moment, grappling with the profound sense of betrayal and the shattering of her dreams. When James walks in, Amara almost doesn't recognize him. In the mere days since the wedding, he has visibly lost weight, his usually confident demeanor replaced by a haunted, subdued presence. He moves cautiously, as if afraid of frightening her, as if he himself is a danger to be contained. "Thank you for meeting me," he says quietly, his voice raspy with emotion, as he sits down across from her, the small table suddenly feeling like a vast chasm. Amara nods stiffly, her guard still firmly in place. "You said the doctor found something." James pulls a folder from his bag, a physical representation of the invisible war raging inside him, and places it on the table between them, its presence heavy with unspoken truths. "I have a brain tumor," he states, his voice shaking slightly, the words themselves a profound confession. "It's in a part of my brain that controls impulses and behavior. The doctor said it could explain what happened at the wedding." Amara stares at him, then at the folder, her mind struggling to reconcile this cold medical fact with the searing emotional pain he had inflicted. Slowly, she opens the folder, her eyes scanning the medical reports, the clinical language a stark contrast to the emotional turmoil. She sees the MRI images, a small white mass illuminated in James's brain, a silent, insidious intruder. "The doctor said it's been growing for months, maybe longer," James continues when she doesn't speak, filling the silence with facts, with a desperate plea for understanding. "It explains the headaches, the mood swings." He swallows hard, then, with immense difficulty, adds the most painful truth. "What I did to you." Amara looks up from the papers, her expression still guarded, the emotional scar tissue still too fresh. "So, you're saying it wasn't your fault? That you can't be held responsible?" Her question is sharp, cutting to the heart of the matter, forcing him to confront the complex interplay of biology and personal accountability. James shakes his head firmly, meeting her gaze, his eyes filled with a raw sincerity. "No, I'm still responsible for what I did. Nothing can change that or make it okay. I'm just trying to explain that it wasn't the real me. I would never consciously hurt you, Amara. Never." This distinction is crucial. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation that acknowledges impact while also revealing a deeper, tragic cause. This is a powerful model for understanding and accountability in difficult situations, acknowledging the harm caused, even when there's an underlying reason for the behavior. She sits back, arms crossed protectively over her chest, still processing, still guarding her heart. "When is the surgery?" "Next Tuesday. They're going to remove it completely. The doctor says the prognosis is good." Amara nods slowly, a wave of complex emotions washing over her. Part of her feels immense relief, knowing there's a medical explanation, that the man she loved might not be an inherent monster. Another part, however, remains wary, unable to forget the shock and humiliation of that public moment, the profound betrayal that had ripped through her life. The wound is too deep for a quick fix, even with a medical explanation. "I don't know what this means for us," she admits, her voice quiet, vulnerable. "I need time to think." "I understand," James says quickly, his tone devoid of pressure. "I'm not asking you to come back or forgive me. I just wanted you to know the truth. Whatever you decide, I'll respect it." They sit in silence for a moment, the bustling coffee shop around them a stark contrast to the quiet intensity of their conversation. It's strange, almost surreal, to be having such an intimate, life-altering discussion in such a public place, surrounded by strangers laughing and chatting, completely oblivious to their personal drama. "Can I call you?" James asks finally, breaking the silence, his voice a fragile thread of hope. "After the surgery?" Amara hesitates, a long moment of internal deliberation, then nods. "Yes, let me know that you're okay." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. It wasn't a promise of reconciliation. But it was a small opening, a tiny crack in the formidable wall that had sprung up between them, a glimmer of hope that perhaps, just perhaps, something could be salvaged. As they part ways outside the coffee shop, neither knows what the future holds, but for the first time since the wedding, both feel a fragile glimmer of hope. The day of James's surgery arrives, marked by cloudy skies and a slight chill in the air, mirroring the somber mood. He checks into the hospital at dawn, his parents by his side, their faces etched with worry, offering silent support. James hasn't slept much the night before, his mind racing with thoughts of Amara, of the life he almost had, and of the profound fear surrounding the procedure. "Did you call her?" his mother asks softly as they wait for the nurse to come get him, a question laden with maternal concern. James nods. She knows. He swallows hard, the words catching in his throat. She said she'd be thinking of me today. His mother squeezes his hand, offering a wordless comfort. What was there to say? Their perfect wedding had spiraled into a nightmare, and now their son was facing brain surgery. All they could do was be there for him, hope, and pray that somehow, against all odds, things would work out. When the nurse finally calls his name, James hugs his parents tightly, fighting back the surge of tears. "I love you both," he whispers, his voice thick with emotion. "We'll be right here when you wake up," his father promises, his voice gruff, betraying his own deep well of emotion. As James is wheeled toward the operating room, a final poignant thought of Amara fills his mind. Would she truly be thinking of him today? Did she still care at all? Or had he destroyed everything beyond repair with that one terrible, inexplicable moment? Across town, Amara sits at her desk at work, staring at her computer screen, but unable to focus on anything. The documents blur before her eyes, her mind constantly returning to the hospital, where at this very moment, surgeons are operating on James's brain. She had told him she would be thinking of him, and she was. She couldn't think of anything else. "You okay?" her coworker Denise asks, popping her head into Amara's office, a sympathetic look on her face. "Fine," Amara lies, forcing a smile. "Just a little tired." Everyone at the office, in their small town, knew about the wedding disaster. It was impossible to keep such a public catastrophe quiet. To their credit, most had been respectful and supportive, but Amara could still feel the weight of their curious glances, the hushed whispers, the collective pity and judgment. By lunchtime, Amara can't stand it anymore. The facade of normalcy crumbles. She tells her boss she isn't feeling well and leaves early, but instead of going home, she finds herself driving, almost instinctively, towards the hospital. She isn't sure what she's doing, or what she will say when she gets there. All she knows is that she needs to be there. When she arrives at the surgical waiting room, James's parents look up in surprise, their faces a mixture of shock and dawning hope. "Amara," his mother says, standing quickly, her voice hushed. "We didn't expect—" "I know," Amara says awkwardly, her own emotions a tangled mess. I needed to be here. Is there any news?" "He's still in surgery," James's father replies, his voice weary but with a touch of gratitude in his eyes. "They said it could be several hours." Amara nods, and takes a seat across from them, the silence that falls over the room thick and uncomfortable. The last time they had seen each other was at the wedding, in the agonizing moments right after the incident. What could they possibly say to each other now? After a few minutes, James's mother moves to sit beside Amara, a gesture of quiet solidarity. "He told us about the tumor," she says quietly, her voice imbued with a raw honesty. "That doesn't excuse what happened, but—" "I know," Amara replies, her voice equally soft, a shared understanding passing between them. "I've been doing a lot of reading about it. Brain tumors can cause dramatic personality changes sometimes. And this acknowledgement, this shared understanding of a medical explanation, bridges some of the chasm that had opened between them. It doesn't erase the pain, but it provides a framework for processing it." "He's been devastated," his mother continues, her voice filled with maternal grief. "Not just about the diagnosis, but about what he did to you. He loves you so much, Amara." Amara looks down at her hands, noticing, with a pang, that she still wears her wedding ring. She hadn't been able to bring herself to take it off yet. "I love him too," she admits, her voice barely a whisper. "That's what makes this so hard. If I didn't care, it would be easy to walk away." Her honesty is a powerful testament to the enduring nature of true love, even when it's tested by profound trauma. Hours pass slowly in the waiting room, marked by awkward small talk, the quiet rustle of vending machine snacks, and the inexorable ticking of the clock. Finally, a surgeon in scrubs appears at the door, a beacon of hope. "Thompson family," he calls. They all stand up quickly, and Amara, unsure of her place, hangs back slightly. But James's mother reaches back and takes her hand, pulling her gently forward, a silent affirmation that Amara is, and will always be, family. "How is he?" his father asks anxiously, his voice tight with anticipation. "The surgery went well," the surgeon says with a smile, a balm to their frayed nerves. "We were able to remove the entire tumor, and there were no complications. He's in recovery now and should be waking up soon." Relief washes over all of them, a palpable wave of gratitude and release. James's mother starts crying tears of joy, and his father puts a comforting arm around her shoulders. Amara feels her own eyes fill with tears, the tension finally easing its grip. "When can we see him?" she asks, surprised by the steadiness in her voice. "He'll be moved to a room in about an hour," the surgeon replies. "You can see him then, but only for a short visit. He'll be groggy from the anesthesia." As they wait for James to be transferred to his room, Amara steps outside to call her parents, letting them know the good news. Her mother answers on the first ring, relief evident in her voice. "You're at the hospital?" she asks, a note of surprise. When Amara explains, her mother pauses. "Are you sure that's a good idea?" "I don't know, Mom," Amara sighs, her honesty raw. "I just know I needed to be here." "Be careful with your heart, sweetheart," her mother warns gently, a mother's eternal caution. "Take things slow." "I will," Amara promises. "I'm not making any decisions right now. I couldn't let him go through this alone." It's a profound statement, revealing a deep-seated empathy and loyalty that transcends the pain of the past weeks. When she is finally allowed to see James, Amara's breath catches in her throat. He looks so vulnerable lying in the hospital bed, his head wrapped in bandages, tubes and wires connecting him to various machines, a stark reminder of the ordeal he has just endured. His parents had gone in first, allowing Amara a few precious moments alone with him. She approaches the bed slowly, unsure if he is awake. His eyes are closed, his breathing deep and even, a sign of the anesthesia's lingering effects. Gently she touches his hand. James's eyes flutter open, unfocused at first, then slowly clearing as they land on her face, a flicker of disbelief. "Amara," he whispers, his voice raspy, weak. "You're here? I thought I was dreaming." "I'm here," she confirms, forcing a small, reassuring smile. "The doctor said the surgery went well." James tries to nod, but winces at the movement. "They got it all out," he says, a profound relief in his voice. No more episodes." His hand turns over beneath hers, their fingers intertwining automatically, a habit ingrained from years of holding hands, a silent language of their shared history. Amara almost pulls away, a flicker of the past trauma, but finds she can't. Despite everything, this feels right. Being here with him, holding his hand through a difficult time, a silent promise of support. "I'm so sorry," James whispers, tears filling his eyes, for everything. "For ruining our wedding day, for hurting you." "Shh," Amara soothes, gently touching his bandaged head. "Don't try to talk too much. You need to rest." "But I need you to know," he insists, his grip on her hand tightening slightly, a desperate plea for her understanding, for her belief. "I would never hurt you, not the real me. I love you more than anything in this world." Amara feels her own tears threatening to fall, her heart swelling with a complex mix of sadness, empathy, and renewed hope. "I know," she says softly. "I believe you." And she does. Looking at him now, vulnerable and sincere, she believes with her whole heart that the man she loved would never willingly hurt her. The profound question that lingers, however, is whether that belief, that renewed understanding, is enough to rebuild what had been so profoundly broken. "Rest now," she says, gently pulling her hand away, a symbolic gesture of needing space, needing time. "I'll come back tomorrow." As she turns to leave, James calls out softly, his voice still weak. "Amara." She pauses, looking back at him. "Thank you for being here," he says, his eyes filled with immense gratitude. "It means everything." She nods, unable to speak past the lump in her throat, and leaves the room. In the hallway, she leans against the wall, allowing the tears to fall freely. She isn't ready to forgive completely, isn't ready to go back to how things were. But for the first time since the wedding, she can see a path forward. Perhaps with time and healing for both of them, they could find their way back to each other, stronger, more resilient, and with a deeper understanding of the fragility and complexity of human connection. The weeks following James's surgery become a period of slow, deliberate healing, physical for him, emotional for both. Amara visits the hospital daily, always during her lunch breaks or after work, never staying too long, maintaining a careful distance, but always making sure he knew she was there. Their conversations at first are about simple things: his recovery progress, the weather, books they were reading, safe topics that skirted the raw emotional terrain. Gradually, however, as the physical wounds began to close, they begin to rebuild the easy conversation, the natural flow of communication that had always been a cornerstone of their relationship. It's a delicate dance, a slow reacquaintance with the emotional intimacy that had once been so natural. 2 weeks after the surgery, James is released from the hospital. His parents insist he stay with them during his recovery, and he doesn't argue. He isn't ready to be alone, and the home he had planned to share with Amara stands empty, a painful, silent reminder of the future they had lost, or at least put on hold. "The doctor says I'm healing faster than expected," James tells Amara during one of her visits to his parents' house. They sit on the back porch, enjoying the first truly warm day of spring, the gentle sunshine a hopeful counterpoint to their difficult journey. The bandages are gone from his head now, replaced by a neat row of stitches that will soon be removed. His hair is starting to grow back around the surgical site, a strange mix of stubble and his usual thick locks. "That's good," Amara says with a small smile, a genuine warmth beginning to return to her eyes. "How are the headaches?" "Almost gone. I still get tired easily, but otherwise, I feel more like myself than I have in months." He hesitates, then adds softly, almost to himself, "Maybe even a year. Looking back, I think the symptoms started long before we noticed them." Amara nods, reflecting on the past year. There had been subtle changes, now glaringly obvious in hindsight. James becoming more irritable, more forgetful, having trouble sleeping. They had blamed it on work stress, on wedding planning, on anything but a serious medical problem. It's a common trap many couples fall into, isn't it? We tend to rationalize behavioral shifts, especially when life is already stressful. We assume it's a temporary phase, a reaction to external pressures, rather than considering a deeper physiological cause. This story serves as a powerful reminder to pay attention to subtle changes in our loved ones, to listen when they express discomfort, and to seek professional help when something feels truly off. "I've been seeing someone," she says suddenly, breaking the quiet comfort of the moment. James looks up sharply, his expression momentarily twisting with hurt, a primal fear of rejection. Amara quickly clarifies, sensing his thoughts. "A therapist. I've been seeing a therapist." "Oh," he says, relaxing slightly, a wave of relief washing over him. "That's good. Is it helping?" Amara nods. "It is. She's helping me work through everything. Not just what happened at the wedding, but all the emotions that came after. The anger, the confusion, the guilt." "Guilt?" James interrupts, looking confused. "What do you have to feel guilty about?" Amara looks down at her hands, her honesty raw and vulnerable. "For not noticing something was wrong with you sooner. For almost walking away without giving you a chance to explain. For still being afraid sometimes, even though I know it wasn't really you who did that." James reaches across the space between them, his hand stopping just short of touching hers, a gesture of respect for her boundaries. "None of that is your fault, Amara. None of it." She looks at his outstretched hand for a long moment, a silent internal battle playing out. Then slowly, she places her own hand in his. His fingers wrap around hers, warm and familiar, a gesture that, after weeks of emotional distance, feels profoundly comforting. It's a small, yet monumental step towards rebuilding intimacy, a silent promise of reconnection. "I'm seeing someone too," he says quietly. "A therapist, I mean. He's helping me deal with what happened. The weird thing is, I remember doing it, hitting you, but it feels like watching someone else in my body. I couldn't stop it, couldn't control it." He shudders, the memory still chilling him to the bone. "That's the scariest part, knowing I was capable of hurting the person I love most." "But it wasn't you," Amara reminds him gently, her thumb stroking the back of his hand. "Not the real you." They sit in silence for a while, holding hands, watching birds flit around the backyard, the mundane beauty of nature offering a quiet balm to their raw emotions. It is the most physical contact they've had since before the wedding, and Amara is surprised by how natural it feels, how much she had missed his touch, the simple comfort of his presence. "I miss our life," James says finally, his voice thick with emotion. "I miss you. I miss us." Amara's heart aches at the longing in his voice, mirroring her own deep yearning. "I miss us too," she admits, "but I'm still healing." "I know," he says quickly, sensing her need for space, her slow process. "I'm not pushing. I just wanted you to know." As April turns to May, James slowly returns to work part-time, his recovery continuing smoothly, with regular follow-up appointments showing no signs of the tumor returning. Amara focuses on her own career, throwing herself into a big project at work to keep her mind occupied, finding a sense of control and purpose amidst the emotional turbulence. They continue to see each other several times a week, but always in public places or at his parents' house, never alone, never in a setting that feels too intimate, too fraught with expectations. They are dating again in a way, getting to know each other as if for the first time, healing together, but also as individuals, respecting the boundaries required for profound emotional repair. One evening in late May, James invites Amara to dinner at a new restaurant downtown. It's the first time he has suggested something that feels like a real date, a conscious step towards rekindling their romance. Amara spends far too long deciding what to wear, a small return to normalcy, before settling on a simple blue dress that she knows James loves, a subtle nod to their shared history. When she arrives at the restaurant, he is waiting outside, holding a single white rose, a gesture that speaks volumes about his renewed intention and tenderness. He looks fully recovered now, the scar on his head mostly hidden by his regrown hair. More importantly, his eyes are clear and bright, the way they had been when they first fell in love, reflecting a renewed sense of self and purpose. "You look beautiful," he says, handing her the rose, his voice filled with genuine admiration. "Thank you," she replies, feeling suddenly shy, a pleasant flutter in her stomach. "You look good too, healthy." The restaurant is quiet and elegant, with soft lighting and private booths, a deliberate choice by James to create a safe, intimate space. They are shown to a table near the back, away from other diners. "I hope this is okay," James says, looking nervous, still attuned to her comfort. "I wanted somewhere we could talk privately, but I understand if you're not comfortable." "It's perfect," Amara assures him. And it is. For the first time since the wedding, she feels completely at ease with him, a deep sense of peace beginning to settle in her heart. They order dinner and talk about light topics at first: work, friends, a movie Amara had seen recently, slowly reestablishing their rhythm. As they eat, however, the conversation turns more serious, more profound. "I've been thinking a lot about us," James says, his eyes fixed on hers, a vulnerable openness in his gaze, "about where we go from here." Amara nods, her heart beating faster, acknowledging the weight of the moment. "Me too." "I know things can never go back to exactly how they were before," he continues, his voice steady. "Too much has happened. But I wonder if maybe we could create something new together, something stronger because of what we've been through." Amara takes a deep breath, the magnitude of his proposal resonating within her. "I've been afraid," she admits, her voice quiet but firm. "Not of you, not anymore, but of trusting again, of being vulnerable." It's a crucial distinction. The fear isn't of James's character, but of the inherent risk in opening one's heart after it's been so profoundly wounded. "I understand that," James says softly, his empathy a soothing balm. "But I've realized something," she continues, her gaze meeting his, a newfound clarity in her eyes. "Every relationship requires trust. Every love is a risk. What happened to us was terrible, but it was also not something either of us could have predicted or prevented." This is a profound realization, a shift in perspective that allows for healing. It acknowledges that sometimes external, unforeseeable forces can impact a relationship, and that true love lies in how one navigates those storms. It speaks to the idea that love isn't just about the absence of pain, but the presence of resilience in the face of it. James reaches across the table, and this time, Amara meets him halfway, their hands clasping in the middle, a tangible reconnection. "I love you, Amara," he says simply, his voice filled with unwavering sincerity. "I never stopped. I never will." "I love you too," she replies, feeling tears prick at the corners of her eyes, tears of joy and profound relief. "I want to try again, together." The relief and joy that washes over James's face makes her heart swell. They still had a long way to go, she knew. Trust, once broken, is never easily repaired. But sitting across from him now, seeing the man she had fallen in love with, the man who had faced his demons and emerged stronger, Amara believed they could build something beautiful from the broken pieces of their past. As they leave the restaurant, walking close but not quite touching, James asks hesitantly, "Would you like to see the house? I've been working on it when I can, trying to get it ready." The house they had bought together before the wedding had been sitting empty all this time, a poignant symbol of their deferred future, waiting for them to begin their life together. "I'd like that," Amara says, surprised by how much she meant it, a genuine lightness in her voice. The short drive to the house is quiet, both lost in their own thoughts, filled with anticipation and a fragile hope. When they arrive, James unlocks the front door and steps back, letting Amara enter first, a gesture of respect and deference. She gasps softly as she walks in. The empty house they had purchased was now partially furnished, with warm lights glowing in the living room and fresh flowers on the coffee table. It looked like a home, waiting to be lived in, imbued with a quiet invitation. "I've been working on it bit by bit," James explains, watching her face for a reaction. "Not pressuring you to move in or anything, just hoping, believing that someday this could still be our home." Amara walks slowly through the rooms, touching furniture and decorations, all chosen with care to match the style they had picked out together months ago. In the kitchen, she finds her favorite tea in the cupboard, a small, thoughtful detail that speaks volumes. In the living room, pictures of them from happier times sit framed on shelves, silent witnesses to their journey. "It's beautiful," she says finally, turning to face him, her eyes filled with emotion. "It feels like us." "That's what I was hoping for," James replies, his voice thick with emotion, his vulnerability laid bare. They stand looking at each other across the living room, the space between them filled with everything they had been through and everything they hoped for. Then slowly, deliberately, Amara crosses the room and wraps her arms around James, burying her face in his chest, a profound gesture of acceptance and renewed connection. His arms come around her, holding her close but gently, as if she were precious and fragile, a testament to his renewed respect and tenderness. She feels his tears on her hair as he whispers, "Welcome home." It wasn't the end of their journey, not by a long shot, but standing there, in the house that would become their home, holding each other after months of pain and healing, they both knew they had turned a corner. Together, they would write the next chapter of their story, one built not on perfection, but on resilience, understanding, and an unwavering commitment to each other. Summer arrives in full force, bringing with it hot, languid days and warm nights filled with the magic of fireflies. Amara and James settle into a new routine, not quite living together yet, but spending most of their free time at the house, slowly, intentionally making it truly their own. Amara moves some of her clothes and personal items in, staying overnight occasionally, but still maintaining her apartment as a safety net, a place to retreat to when she needs space, a prudent step in the delicate dance of rebuilding trust. Their friends and family watch their reconciliation with mixed reactions. Some, like James's parents, are cautiously supportive, immensely grateful to see their son happy again, and impressed by the effort both Amara and James are putting into rebuilding their relationship. They understand the medical context and the profound transformation James has undergone. Others, particularly Amara's friends, remain skeptical, their protective instincts still sharp. "Are you sure about this?" Rose asks one day, her voice laced with concern, as she helps Amara paint the guest bedroom, a domestic scene that stands in stark contrast to the drama of just months ago. "I mean, I get that it was a medical thing, but still—" "I'm not sure about anything," Amara admits, carefully edging around the window frame with a paintbrush. "But I know I love him, and I know the man I fell in love with is back. The tumor changed him, Rose. You didn't see how he was in the months leading up to the wedding. The mood swings, the headaches, the personality changes. I didn't connect the dots then, but looking back, it was like watching someone else take over his body bit by bit." Rose sighs, dipping her roller in the paint tray, her concern palpable. "I just don't want you to get hurt again." "I don't want that either," Amara says with a small, resolute smile. "But I can't live my life afraid of what might happen. None of us knows what tomorrow brings." This exchange highlights the real-world complexity of forgiveness and reconciliation. It's not just about the couple, it's about their support systems, their friends and family who witness the pain and want to protect them. Trust, once fractured, requires not just internal healing, but often external validation and understanding. Later that evening, after Rose has left, Amara finds James sitting on the back porch, looking at the sunset, lost in thought. She sits beside him on the porch swing, their shoulders touching comfortably, a silent intimacy. "Rose still doesn't trust me," he says without looking at her. It isn't a question, but a quiet observation. "She's protective," Amara replies. "She'll come around eventually." James nods slowly, a profound sadness in his eyes. "I can't blame her. Sometimes I still don't trust myself." Amara turns to look at him, surprised by the admission, her heart aching for him. "What do you mean?" He sighs, finally meeting her eyes. "I have these dreams sometimes. Nightmares, really, where it happens again. I hit you, but this time there's no tumor to blame. It's just me being a monster." Amara's heart aches at the raw pain in his voice, the deep-seated fear that still haunts him. "James, you're not a monster. You never were." "But how can we be sure it won't happen again?" he asks, his voice barely above a whisper, revealing the core of his anxiety. "The doctors say the tumor is gone. The scans are clear. But what if they missed something? What if it comes back?" Amara takes his hand, squeezing it reassuringly, her touch a silent promise. "Then we'll deal with it together. We know what to look for now. The headaches, the mood changes. We won't ignore the signs again. This conversation is deeply insightful into the lingering trauma of such an event, even with a medical explanation. James's fear isn't just about his health, it's about his identity, his fear of being the person capable of such an act. It highlights how important it is for both partners to acknowledge the psychological impact of trauma and to have a plan for future vigilance and support. James looks down at their intertwined fingers. "You know, when I was in the hospital, I made a promise to myself. If you gave me another chance, I would spend the rest of my life making sure you never regretted it." "I don't," Amara says softly. "Regret it, I mean. Being here with you feels right." He smiles then, a genuine smile that lights up his eyes, a glimpse of the James she had always known. "I was thinking, what if we went away for a weekend? Just the two of us. No family checking in, no friends giving opinions, just us figuring out what our future looks like." The idea is both exciting and a little scary. They haven't spent a night completely alone together since before the wedding, but Amara finds herself nodding. "I'd like that." They choose a small cabin by a lake about 2 hours' drive from the city. It's simple but charming, with a stone fireplace and a deck overlooking the water, a perfect escape from the pressures of their everyday lives. They arrive on a Friday afternoon, the car packed with groceries and weekend bags, a symbol of their intention to create new, peaceful memories. "It's beautiful," Amara says, stepping out of the car and breathing in the fresh, clean air. The lake sparkles in the distance, surrounded by trees in full summer bloom, a vibrant tableau of nature's enduring beauty. James carries their bags inside while Amara explores the cabin. It's cozy and clean, with a small kitchen, a living area centered around the fireplace, and a bedroom with a big window facing the lake. Something about the quiet simplicity of the place feels profoundly healing, as if they had stepped outside of time and away from all their problems, into a sanctuary of reconnection. They spend the afternoon settling in, unpacking groceries, and walking down to the lake. The water is cool but not cold, and they take off their shoes to wade along the shore, talking about simple things. A book James is reading, a project Amara is working on at her job. It feels normal, comfortable, like the early days of their relationship, before wedding stress and health problems had complicated everything. This return to normalcy, to the simple joy of each other's company, is a powerful indicator of their healing journey. As evening falls, they cook dinner together, moving around the small kitchen with the easy coordination of two people who knew each other well. James makes his specialty pasta sauce while Amara prepares a salad, their conversation flowing naturally from topic to topic, their laughter echoing softly in the cabin. After dinner, they sit on the deck with glasses of wine, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold, a breathtaking spectacle. In the growing darkness, fireflies begin to appear, tiny flashes of light dancing over the lake, mirroring the fragile sparks of hope rekindling within their hearts. "I've missed this," James says softly, looking at Amara's profile in the fading light. "Just being with you, not talking about doctors or therapists or family opinions, just us." Amara turns to face him, her expression serious, acknowledging the weight of his words. "I've missed it too, but we can't pretend the hard stuff didn't happen. It's part of our story now." It's a crucial point, a testament to their commitment to honesty and facing their past directly. True healing isn't about forgetting, but about integrating the painful experiences into a larger narrative of growth and resilience. "I know," James agrees, his voice thoughtful. "And maybe that's not entirely bad. We've both changed, grown stronger in some ways." They fall silent again, watching the last colors fade from the sky as stars begin to appear, pinpricks of light in the vast canvas of night. When Amara shivers slightly in the cooling air, James hesitates, then, with a slow, deliberate movement, puts his arm around her shoulders. She leans into him, fitting perfectly against his side, as she always had, a silent affirmation of their enduring connection. "When I was in the hospital," James says after a while, his voice quiet, reflective, "I had a lot of time to think about us, about what I wanted for our future, and I realized something important." "What's that?" Amara asks, looking up at him, her heart open to his words. "That even if we never got back together, even if you decided you couldn't trust me again, I would still be grateful for the time we had. You made me a better person, Amara. You showed me what real love looks like." Tears prick at Amara's eyes, touched by the profound humility and sincerity of his confession. Even after everything that happened, especially after everything that happened, he says firmly, his grip on her shoulder tightening slightly. You could have walked away. No one would have blamed you. But you stayed. You gave me a chance to explain, to heal, to make things right. That's real love. Amara reaches up to touch his face, her fingers tracing the line of his jaw, a gesture of deep affection and understanding. I couldn't walk away, she admits, her voice thick with emotion. Even when I was angry and hurt, even when I wasn't sure we had a future, I couldn't stop loving you. James turns his head to kiss her palm, a gesture so tender, so full of reverence, it makes her heart ache. Slowly, deliberately, giving her every chance to pull away, he leans down and kisses her lips. It is their first real kiss since before the wedding, soft and tentative at first, then deepening as Amara responds, her arms sliding around his neck, pulling him closer. When they finally break apart, both are breathless, the air charged with unspoken emotion, with renewed passion, with a powerful sense of having truly come home. I should probably set up the couch for me to sleep on, James says, his voice rough with emotion, a lingering respect for her autonomy. But Amara shakes her head. No, she says softly, stay with me tonight. Later, lying in bed with James's arms around her, Amara feels a peace she hadn't experienced in months. Outside, the moon shines on the lake, casting a silvery glow on the water, and the occasional hoot of an owl breaks the night's silence. They had made love slowly, rediscovering each other with gentle touches and whispered words of affection. It felt like coming home, a profound sense of rightness settling over her soul. What are you thinking about? James asks, his breath warm against her hair. The future, she replies honestly. Our future. And what does it look like? Amara smiles in the darkness. It looks good. Different than I imagined before, but good. James tightens his arms around her. I love you, Amara. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. Together, she agrees, closing her eyes contentedly, letting sleep take her, safe in the arms of the man she loved. The weekend passes too quickly, filled with long walks, quiet conversations, and moments of rediscovered intimacy. By Sunday afternoon, as they pack the car to return to the city, both feel more certain about their path forward, their future together. I don't want to go back, Amara admits, as they stand on the deck one last time, looking out at the serene lake. We can come back, James promises, squeezing her hand. Anytime you want. But I'm not sad to be going home. Oh, the word resonates with new weight, new meaning. Not just a place with walls and a roof, but wherever they were together. As they drive back to the city, Amara reaches across the center console to take James's hand, a natural, unthinking gesture of profound connection. I've been thinking, she says, her voice firm with conviction. I want to move in properly. I mean all my things, not just visiting. The pure joy on James's face is answer enough, but he squeezes her hand and says, nothing would make me happier. The next few weeks are busy with moving arrangements as Amara gives notice on her apartment and packs up her belongings, eagerly anticipating this new chapter. Their friends and family rally around them, helping with boxes and furniture, some more enthusiastically than others. Rose still watches James with weary eyes, a lingering concern in her gaze, but she is trying, for Amara's sake, to accept this new reality. One evening, as they collapse onto the couch after a long day of unpacking, James pulls a small box from his pocket. What's that? Amara asks, eyeing it curiously, a flicker of apprehension mixed with excitement. Something I've been holding on to, he replies, opening the box to reveal her engagement ring, the very one she had taken off the night of the wedding and never put back on. I'm not proposing again. Not yet, he clarifies, his voice gentle. But I wanted you to have this back, if you want it, as a promise that someday, when we're both ready, we'll try again. Amara looks at the ring, remembering the day James had first given it to her, the sheer, unadulterated happiness of that moment. So much had happened since then, so much pain and profound healing. Slowly, Deliberately, she holds out her left hand. "I want it back," she says, her voice soft but resolute. "Not as an engagement ring, not yet, but as a promise, like you said, a promise that we won't give up on each other, no matter what." James slips the ring onto her finger where it belonged, a perfect fit. It feels right, a tangible symbol of their arduous journey and their unwavering commitment to each other. "No matter what," he agrees, pulling her close for a kiss that seals their promise, a kiss imbued with a depth of understanding and love forged in fire. 1 year later, on a perfect summer day, Amara stands in the small dressing room of a beautiful garden venue, looking at herself in the mirror. Her wedding dress is simpler this time, an elegant ivory sheath that skims her curves and complements her dark skin, chosen for its understated grace rather than grand spectacle. Her hair is styled in loose curls, adorned with tiny white flowers, a natural beauty that reflects the genuine, unvarnished nature of their love. "You look beautiful," her mother says, adjusting the neckline slightly, her eyes brimming with happy tears. "Are you nervous?" Amara shakes her head, smiling, a profound sense of peace radiating from her. "Not at all, not this time." It had been a journey to get to this day, a path with unexpected turns and formidable obstacles, but one they had navigated with courage and unwavering commitment. After moving in together, they had taken things slowly, rebuilding their relationship day by day, brick by painful brick. James continued to be healthy, with no signs of the tumor returning, a constant source of relief. They had both continued therapy, separately and together, diligently working through the trauma of what had happened and learning better ways to communicate and support each other, transforming their individual pain into collective strength. 6 months ago, on the anniversary of their first disastrous wedding, James had proposed again, properly this time, with a new ring to symbolize their new beginning, their renewed commitment. The old engagement ring now hangs on a delicate chain around Amara's neck, a subtle but powerful reminder of where they had been and how far they had come. This wedding is different in every way, small and intimate, with only 50 guests instead of 300, held in a lush garden rather than a grand hall. No elaborate decorations or expensive catering, just simple beauty and the people who truly mattered to them, their closest circle of friends and family who had witnessed their journey. A gentle knock on the door interrupts Amara's thoughts. Rose pokes her head in, looking stunning in her bridesmaid dress, a warm smile on her face. "It's time," she says. Over the past year, Rose had gradually warmed to James again, witnessing his genuine love for Amara and his unwavering commitment to making things right. Amara takes a deep breath and nods, a quiet resolve settling over her. "I'm ready." As she walks down this garden path towards the flower-covered arch where James waits, Amara feels nothing but joy and profound certainty. This is right. This is where she is meant to be. James watches her approach, his face filled with love and wonder, his eyes bright with happiness. He looks handsome in his simple suit, healthy and strong, completely recovered from his surgery, with only a faint scar, mostly hidden by his hair, as a subtle reminder of what they had overcome together. When she reaches him, he takes her hands in his, squeezing them gently, a silent affirmation of their enduring bond. "You are so beautiful," he whispers, his voice catching with emotion. The ceremony is short and deeply meaningful. They had written their own vows this time, wanting to speak from the heart rather than repeat traditional words, ensuring every promise was deeply personal and true to their unique journey. "Amara," James begins, his voice strong and sure, resonating with conviction. "I stand here today humbled by your love and strength. You saw me at my worst and my best, and you chose to stay. You fought for us when it would have been easier to walk away. I promise to spend every day of the rest of my life earning the trust you've placed in me. I promise to listen when you speak, to hold you when you need comfort, to laugh with you in joy, and stand by you in sorrow. Most of all, I promise to remember that love is not just a feeling, but a choice I make gladly every morning when I wake up beside you, and every night when I fall asleep with you in my arms. You are my heart, my home, my forever." Tears slip down Amara's cheeks as she listens, but they are tears of happiness, of profound gratitude for this man and their shared journey. When it is her turn, she takes a deep breath and meets his gaze steadily, her own eyes shining with love. "James," she says, her voice clear and strong, "our story is not a perfect fairy tale. It's something better. It's real. We have faced challenges that would have broken other couples, and we've emerged stronger, more loving, more committed. I've learned that true love isn't about perfect moments, but about standing together through the imperfect ones. I promise to remember that lesson. I promise to be your partner in all things, to celebrate your joys and help carry your burdens. I promise to grow with you, to build a life that reflects the depth of our love and the strength of our commitment. You are the love of my life, today and always." As they exchange rings and are pronounced husband and wife, the small gathering of friends and family erupts in heartfelt applause. This time, when James kisses his bride, there is no shadow hanging over them, no hidden illness waiting to strike. There is only love, pure and tested and true, a love that has weathered the storm and emerged unbreakable. The reception is held in the same beautiful garden, with tables set up under strings of twinkling lights and a small dance floor created on the lawn. As evening falls, James leads Amara to the center of the floor for their first dance as truly united husband and wife. He holds her close, swaying gently to the music, their foreheads touching, a profound intimacy in their shared space. "How are you feeling, Mrs. Thompson?" he asks softly, his voice thick with adoration. "Happy," she replies simply, a radiant smile on her face. "Completely, perfectly happy." Around them, their loved ones watch with smiles and some with tears, witnessing the culmination of an extraordinary journey. They all knew the path this couple had taken to reach this moment, the pain and healing that had brought them here, making this celebration all the more poignant and meaningful. "You know," James says, as he spins her gently under his arm, a playful joy in his eyes, "when I think about what happened at our first wedding, I'm almost grateful." Amara raises an eyebrow, surprised by his profound statement. "Grateful?" He nods, pulling her close again, his gaze serious. "If it hadn't happened, we might never have discovered the tumor until it was too late, and we might never have learned how strong our love really is, how much we can overcome together." Amara considers this, resting her head on his shoulder, a deep understanding dawning within her. "I never thought of it that way before," she admits, "but you're right. It was terrible, but it led us here, to this moment, and I wouldn't trade this for anything." This is a powerful, almost paradoxical lesson, that sometimes the greatest challenges can reveal the deepest strengths, forging a bond that is stronger and more resilient than any superficial perfection. As the night goes on, they dance with their parents, laugh with their friends, and cut a simple cake that tastes far better, imbued with the sweetness of hard-won joy, than the elaborate creation from their first wedding. When it's time to leave, their guests line the garden path, holding sparklers that light up the darkness, casting a magical glow. James takes Amara's hand as they prepare to run through the tunnel of light. "Ready for our next adventure?" he asks with a smile, his eyes shining with anticipation. "With you?" she replies, squeezing his hand. "Always." They run together through the sparkling path, laughter and love carrying them forward into their future, a future they had fought for, a love they had earned through pain and healing and unwavering commitment to each other. Later that night, in the quiet intimacy of their hotel room, James holds Amara close, his fingers tracing gentle patterns on her bare shoulder. "I was thinking," he says thoughtfully, "about how different this feels from last time." "It feels real," Amara replies, looking up at him, her voice filled with contentment. "Last time, we were caught up in the spectacle of it all, the big venue, the hundreds of guests, the perfect clothes and food and flowers. This time, it was just about us, our love, our commitment." James nods, pressing a kiss to her forehead, a gesture of deep affection. "Someone once told me that the wedding is just one day, but the marriage is your whole life. I didn't really understand that until now." Amara smiles, snuggling closer to him. We've already started our marriage, really, this past year, living together, working through everything. Today just made it official. Official and perfect, James adds, his voice filled with happiness. No medical emergencies, no family drama, just us promising forever. Forever, Amara repeats, closing her eyes contentedly. I like the sound of that. As they drift off to sleep in each other's arms, both reflect silently on the extraordinary journey that had brought them to this place. The pain had been real, the challenges significant, but in overcoming them, they had built a love stronger than either could have imagined. Their story wasn't a fairy tale filled with effortless perfection, but something far more valuable, a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness, the unwavering strength of commitment, and the profound healing magic of true, resilient love. In the years that followed, they would face other challenges, as all couples do. There would be arguments and misunderstandings, moments of frustration, and times of grief. But there would also be joy beyond measure, the birth of their children, professional successes, quiet evenings at home filled with laughter, and exciting adventures abroad. Through it all, they would remember the hard-won lesson they had learned so painfully at the very beginning of their marriage, that love is not just a feeling, but a daily choice, a conscious commitment made anew each day, and that together, with unwavering support and open communication, they could overcome anything. And sometimes, on quiet anniversaries, they would return to that little cabin by the lake where they had found their way back to each other, a sacred space of reconnection. They would sit on this deck, holding hands as the sun set over the water, endlessly grateful for the second chance that had given them this beautiful, imperfect, and profoundly real life together. Their love story hadn't begun perfectly, but it had grown into something real and lasting, something worth fighting for, something neither of them would ever take for granted again. And really, isn't that the greatest love story of all?